Daniel's third death, Jack the Jaffa, and an exploding little girl, all tonight on Episode 5 of Chevron Locked. Hello, and welcome, everyone. Chevron Locked. This is Episode 5. My name is BC. I am joined by Kevin. Kevin, how are you doing tonight, bud?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, you feeling better?
Feeling better. Just had my tonsils out, so I've got a little bit of a cough. I apologize in advance.
Don't worry about it. I can't remember. I know I was a kid when I had mine out, and thank God, because I don't remember if there was any pain or any BS that went along with it.
Oh, it's worse when you're 37. They're huge.
Hey, but you got ice cream, right?
Yeah, ice cream is the worst thing you can do for tonsils. Just so you know, creates so much mucus you want to die.
See, these are all things that I'm glad I totally forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird though. I mean, you're a married man, so at least you had your wife there to kind of nurse you back to health.
Yeah, she can't cook.
Well then.
Yeah, it was all right. I couldn't eat.
Does she listen to the podcast?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
No, not
your wife
yet.
Doesn't even listen? Oh, not yet?
No, she will.
Is she a sci-fi fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I just assumed she'd always listen to it. That's all. So tonight we are looking at 3 different episodes. We're going to talk about Fire and Water, Hathor, and Singularity. Not to get too in depth, I love them all.
Great episodes.
Yeah, I really absolutely did. So I'm really excited to talk about those. Before we did get started, I wanted to say a huge thank you to the Stargate subreddit for checking out the first 4 episodes of the podcast, giving us a little bit of feedback. This is very much a work in progress for us. Both Kevin and I love the show. We love talking about it, and the talking is the easy part. Us just shooting the shit about episodes is easy. The audio and the editing is something that we're both learning as we go with this thing. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the support on the Twitter feed, which is Chevron Podcast. We had a huge shout out from Gatecast, which is another great, phenomenal Stargate podcast. They take a different approach than we do. They look at one episode per podcast and really tear that episode apart, and really look at it. But it's a very great podcast. If you haven't checked it out, please go and check it out. Thanks again for those two. We both really appreciate it, and feedback is always welcome. We really want this to get better and better each time we do this. So I just wanted to say thanks for that. Getting into it, Fire and Water. Kevin, you want to go ahead and take Fire and Water?
Sure.
You want to start that one out?
Let's start there.
Okay.
This is Daniel's third death. No, we'll start with this. We'll do the book after.
Okay, fair enough. You knew where I was going with that.
I know you.
Okay,
I got you.
All right, go ahead.
So Daniel's dead. Third time.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to keep pausing you. I meant to say that was, remember right before we recorded, I was like, there was something I was going to fucking ask you, and that is I wanted to make sure you had a running count so far of Daniel's deaths.
Number 3.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, in this episode, it was them. It starts off, Daniel's dead. Nobody remembers how or why, just fire and water and brimstone, and they want to go back, but they don't want to go back. So after fighting, I loved this episode. I thought this was another good episode of Daniel being dead and everybody dealing with their demons, going back with it. There were no big names in this episode, but there were a lot of really cool things that happened in it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why Teal'c, when he came back from the planet, didn't get a bed in the infirmary or a little Johnny like everybody else, even though he seemed to be as out of it as the other two. He
yes.
Just kind of staring off into space.
It's almost like they're, pardon me, that they're getting used to his symbiote. So they're like, he's fine. Like, let's deal with the ones that don't have symbiotes right now. Let's deal with the ones that, don't have some way to internally fix themselves. I did think that was a little weird. For some reason, When we got to when you realize that Daniel's still alive and well. When we got to did that guy have Nem? Was that his name?
Nem, yeah.
Okay. I really liked the look of his home or his lair or whatever you wanted to refer to it
Yeah,
as.
it was totally different than anything else we've ever seen. It was aesthetically, it was just amazing.
Yeah, I really did. I thought it was just so incredibly well done. I thought the look of him, even though slightly cheesy by today's standards, still looked really, really well. Or really, really good.
Abe Sapien from Hellboy.
Oh my God, yes, you're dead on with that. I thought it was just perfect. I thought he looked great. I thought the set pieces were just phenomenal. Yeah, so they get brainwashed, or he implants a
false memory.
Yeah.
I don't understand, even after that, even after the fight, even everything, why they wouldn't send another SG team. I feel like they gave up way too quick on that. They were just like, nah, fuck it, he's dead.
The other thing, when they first came back, when the episode starts, right, and the three of them come through the Stargate, were they not like soaking wet?
Yeah.
Okay, which that's fine, but then when they go back with Carter, or not go back, but when they start the hypnosis with Carter, and you get the flashback scenes.
Yep.
Nem hit him with that repulsor ray, basically, right on the beach.
Yeah.
So did he drag them into the water?
No, I don't know.
Okay, all right. Just a little something I caught. I don't know. I'm weird. that one bothered me for whatever reason.
I mean, Daniel had a really nice apartment when they were cleaning it out because he was dead. I don't understand. Like, okay, so let's walk through this. He's an academic.
Correct.
He's a laughingstock.
Correct.
He does not live anywhere near the mountain. Yes. So they bring him in for the Stargate program. He spends a year off world. He comes back for, a week? And he's got this place all moved in, full of his shit. And it was a really nice place. I don't understand how and why he would have this place and why it would be, knowing Daniel, set up so well. Yeah. I think that was a problem for me.
Daniel kind of comes off as a minimalist?
Yeah, exactly. Well, but he's always picking up stuff. He's always, artifacts and things. He's fascinated with them. And this place was full of that, but he had fish. He had pets. He had things that had to be taken care of. This is a dude
I didn't notice that, but yeah.
He's never home, so I don't I mean, fish are great, they're the least of your worries, but still.
I didn't notice that. Good catch on that one. So Nem takes Daniel because he thinks that Daniel is the smartest one of them. Is that kind of your understanding?
Because Daniel knew some of the language or some of the concept of what he was trying to look for.
Correct, but before that,
Omarosa.
But before that, he knocked everybody out, right?
Yeah.
He had to choose Daniel for a reason. Like, he knew that Daniel possessed a certain amount of knowledge about ancient civilizations. I don't know how. That was never really explained about why he took just Daniel or whatever.
Maybe by fish people standards, he's the prettiest.
Dude, that may be it. He's the only one wearing glasses. So maybe that's a thing. But yeah, we find out that Nem's just looking for his life partner, his wife, Amaroka, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who lived on Earth during Babylonia? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So roughly 4,000 years ago. And he assumes that Daniel has that knowledge about where she is or what happened to her, and he's got some, I believe it was Babylonian writing that Daniel can kind of decipher some of it, and then basically has to retrieve those memories out, the hard way, if you will. So I thought it was a good episode. I really did, man. Any I'm such a huge Frasier fan, not the goddamn sitcom Frasier the doctor. I really like her. I really like almost every episode that she's in.
Oh yeah.
So that was really awesome. And then we find out that Amaroko was killed, right? Killed by a Gould. Bellis?
Yep. I forget. Unfortunately,
I think it was Bellis that he found that somehow. That was the crazy part, is that Daniel's saying, you can't expect me to remember bits of information from all the books that I've read over, however many years.
And then Daniel was very quick to try to commit suicide by offering himself up for this technique to extract the memories. I mean, it's been like 3 days, dude. Maybe give it a week. Maybe see if you can change his mind and have him let you go. I don't know. That was a little quick for me.
Maybe give it a little bit. You're right. Give it some time. Maybe you can talk to him. Maybe SG-1 comes back. Yep. You don't know. All said and done, I thought it was a really good episode. Man, the visuals were on point. I thought it was another cool little setup of them getting their minds erased and whatnot.
Yeah. It was a nice minimal episode.
It really was, man.
It was almost like a bottle episode, except they did leave the base,
Correct. And it was one of those episodes where I don't think it really necessarily moved the overall story forward. So I would consider it a standalone episode, but it was a fun standalone episode.
Very much so.
There are standalone episodes that I just don't care for. That was definitely not one. I thought it was a fun episode. Carter didn't really piss me off at all, so that's a victory in my book.
That takes some doing.
Yeah, it really does, man. But and then of course SG-1 comes back. Nem decides to, or he doesn't even let Daniel leave. Daniel figures out a way. So Daniel swims from the bottom of the ocean
without taking a breath. He just walked into it.
He just said, "Fuck it, we're going." Gets to the surface. They're all friends. Everybody high fives, and we leave the door open to that maybe they come back. So one thing I would have liked to see is that all we saw was Nem. All we saw was Nem in that one room. I would have liked to see like an episode of them going back and visiting that established world. Because I'm
not
assuming
sure how much more there was than Nem. I think he might be alone.
You think so?
4,000 years? You move on, dude. I'm sorry. You go to Fish Craigslist and you find another girl.
I don't... Fish Craigslist, dude.
I'm assuming at this time they hadn't invented Fish Tinder yet.
Well, and he seemed like a classy guy. He didn't seem like Fish Tinder type of material, He was more of like fishmatch.com.
There you go.
You know? But I don't know. I guess when I was watching it, I was kind of assuming that there was a whole civilization there underwater.
Yeah, they'd never bring it up. It could go either way.
It really could, man. It's it's never really talked about, but maybe that's kind of why I love it. Part of it is that a lot of that stuff is left up to just how you want to interpret it. If you want to believe that there was an entire civilization there, that there was an entire race of Nems, floating around underwater, then so be it. But
can't happen.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would have liked to see a little bit more, but you're right. The way the initial viewing of it, or the initial plot, is that he's just out there alone. But whatever.
The other thing I wanted to talk about before we move on from this episode, I got lost in Wikipedia when I was looking up things for this episode, and I found out just how Canadian the production for this show is.
Okay.
They had a hockey team that actually played against the hockey team from Smallville, the TV show. I find that fascinating.
See, I never watched Smallville.
I watched like the first 2 seasons of Smallville before I was like, oh yeah, he's never going to be Superman. And I'm glad I skipped 8 years of that.
Yeah, I just, not to take your point, or not to get away from your point, but man, I don't give a shit about the early years of Superman.
No.
Like, I don't give a shit about his teenage angst and his teenage struggles. Like, that's not fucking Superman.
It's not called Less Than Superboy. It's called Superman. I want to see him flying around kicking ass.
Yeah, so that's really cool, though. Like, it's they really did do pretty much everything out of Vancouver. That's crazy. Or maybe not Vancouver, but out of Canada. What's the next one we got? Hathor. Another fantastic fucking episode. I really love this episode, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. And it surprised the shit out of me that we had kind of a Carter-centric episode that I enjoyed.
Yep.
Like, she was in this episode a lot, and she did not wreck shit for me. First and foremost, I thought she did a great job. The episode in and of itself is we get introduced to Hathor, who is we find out is a Goa'uld, who took on the role of basically an Egyptian goddess. As far as we know, at least Egyptian. There was talks of her going, also being linked to Aphrodite and whatnot. But a sarcophagus is uncovered in Mexico. Didn't really say in Mayan.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was a Mayan temple, but it was Egyptian. It was Egyptian hieroglyphics. This poor archaeologist who happened to have read one of Daniel's books, which he just name dropped Daniel. You know, that was cool. The Hathor comes out of the sarcophagus, wipes them out, and just shows up in Colorado somehow. Just walks her way to Colorado.
Yep, from South America. Easiest thing to do.
Dude, that's a hop, skip, and a jump. Like, what do? You take an Amtrak. That's it, you know? You're there. She travels to Colorado because she knows exactly where the Stargate is. Which, did they really talk about that? Like, how she was able to track?
Not really.
Okay.
Nope,
Because I didn't know if it was something...
kind of brushed it off.
Okay. I didn't know if it was something like she had some sort of telepathy almost towards it, or if she had some sort of like electronic device, you know, like a Garmin for her Stargate.
She's got a key finder.
A fob. She just keeps clicking it. Every 300 miles, she just clicks it to see if she can hear
click. Oh, this way. Yep.
So she shows up and just knocks on the door and says, "Hey, you have my Stargate." They let her in. That's the weird part, is they let her in before they get Hammond. Like, I would have assumed that they would have gotten Hammond before they let her in. Like, hey, we got some chick out here that says she knows what the Stargate is. But anyway, they got her into the building. They go get Hammond. And she's using like a pheromone drug to control all the men. Really cool visual, by the way, for the time. I don't know why, but that really kind of impressed me a little bit. The visual of her little pheromones, you know, getting inhaled
breathing
by
on
those
her
guys.
hand.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, that's pretty cool.
Doesn't take much to impress you. All right,
dude,
good.
It really doesn't. It really, really doesn't, and I'm good with that. But so she takes control, but she basically drugs all the men at the base. Daniel kind of being like her bitch, like the main bitch of it. But then chooses Jack to be first prime?
I seemed it, yeah.
Okay.
She cut his gut.
Oh, that was so great too. Yeah, chooses Jack to be first prime, and we're revealed through Daniel that she's the mother of all gold larvae.
So she says.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's touched on down the road, because I know that we do see her again. Correct?
Yeah, I believe we do see her again.
Okay, I believe so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she is the mother or was the mother before they locked her away thousands of years ago.
See, yeah. Again, there were a couple small things that I wish they would have touched up on more, and I'm sure for a timing and a pacing issue, you know, for whatever reason they couldn't do it.
Yep.
But that was one of them, like whether or not she was locked up on purpose, like other gold came in and locked her down. She is... Like, how that works, that she is basically... Does she just birth gold larvae?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. That was... And then, did she have sex with Daniel and then birth larvae?
I think that was, to make them specifically suited to humans.
Okay. That was kind of, like, towards the end of the episode, she's like, they're collecting all the samples, and she's like, you know, if we get lucky, we can find some DNA. Some gold DNA, and Daniel's like, oh, you'll probably find mine too. And I'm like, what? Oh yeah,
he looked drained. That dude needed a Gatorade.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did, man. And well, towards the end of the episode, after she leaves, when she goes to the Stargate, Jack and Daniel clearly have no recollection of what happened, but yet he specifically remembers having sex with her somehow.
Well, wouldn't you? Look at her.
Yeah, she didn't really do much for me, man.
Huh?
I don't know why. I was just like, really? Like, Aphrodite? I don't see it. Dr. Frasier, man. I'm a Dr. Frasier guy. I really am. So, anyway, she's got all the men at the base under her control.
Except Teal'c.
Except for Teal'c, who, his gold larva is protecting him from her womanist ways. And then we kind of get a cool scene of her in that fucking sauna. And it was very reminiscent of Stargate the movie, where the men kind of shield her. Like when Carter raises her gun, you know, the men kind of jump in there. And
I didn't even realize that.
It was very reminiscent of that, you know, the first time. Was that O'Neill? It was O'Neill in the movie.
Yeah, when they meet Ra.
Yeah, when the kids kind of, you know, jump in front of it. So that was kind of a cool little throwback. But it's basically Carter and Dr. Frazier and the rest of the female staff who it's like basically woman 1, woman 2, woman 3. Like, we don't know these people.
Yeah, we've never met them.
Yeah, and we never will again, I don't think.
I think they're actually listed in the credits as guard and soldier.
Oh, are you serious? Yeah, I'm sure of it. But they get locked down. They have to do some womanly seducing to get the guards in there. Guards get knocked out. They get let free. And how did that? So Jack. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. It was a long night at work here. I'm working on it. So Hathor's gonna put Jack in this hot tub, right, with all his larvae, and he's already got the X mark of death on his gut and
the kangaroo pouch. Yeah,
yeah. And they pull Jack out. They put him in the sarcophagus, which heals him fantastically. And they ended up getting the tranq darts and all that stuff. And, Carter saves the day. Really, really good episode. Like I said, really enjoyed Carter in this episode for some reason. And I think that judging by the last 4 podcasts, I'm not necessarily the biggest Carter fan, but that's okay. Don't hate her. I just think that sometimes I just don't like her character all that much. But this one I thought was great. I thought she did a great job in it. Loved Dr. Frazier. Thought it was kind of a really, really good episode for so many different reasons, actually. One, we get introduced to another big Goa'uld. Somebody that could be the mother of all Goa'uld. We don't know a whole lot at this point. But it definitely one of those episodes that furthers along the main storyline, I think. What'd you think, all said and done?
Yeah, I thought it was a very decent episode. I mean, it didn't have, it wasn't without flaw, but yeah, very good. I did like the way that it moved things forward. I like the way that it introduces more baddies for us to fight in the future and kind of leaves it open, where she leaves through the gate at the end. Why did she speak English? My biggest question of the night.
Ra spoke English. Like, in the Stargate movie, like, Ra spoke to them in English.
Did he? I don't think he did.
Did he not?
I don't remember.
Am I making shit up? No. Well,
we just watched this movie. Come on.
I know. So when they first met Ra, right? They've been captured. They are forced to kneel. He comes through the throne room. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this so far. He's got the kids with him.
I'm pretty sure he didn't speak English. I'm pretty sure that they changed a lot of what he was going to say by dubbing over him and by doing the subtitles differently. We're going to have to look this up. We're going to have to look it up later. I know in the movie
he does speak English.
I don't know. I can't for the life of me remember. I'm the idiot here, I'm sure.
Maybe not. So now I'm going back through the first few episodes of the first 11 or 12 episodes of the show. I'm really trying to think now because they've met other Goa'uld. Okay, so in the Nox, he specifically was speaking English in that though too, wasn't he?
Now this I'm going to talk about this when we're done with the episodes, but the book does address what I talked about a couple of episodes ago, where the gate is translating for them.
Okay.
The book mentions that a little bit. I for anybody listening, I read Sacrifice Moon, one of the Fandemonium novels that goes along with the seasons of Stargate. This is the one novel that fits into season 1, and I'll talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe let's just spitball this. There's Hathor. Okay, was Hathor the Goa'uld, or was that the woman host?
I'm sure it was the Goa'uld.
Okay, so the woman host, let's just call her Sally, right? You had Sally and Hathor, and maybe Hathor just went with English because as a way to help initially kind of seduce the men before the glowing pink dust entered their nose. Like she, even if the Goa'uld doesn't know English, that's one of those things that when she takes the host, that would be one of those things that is shared knowledge then at that point.
Yeah,
I would think. So I don't know. Maybe she used English as just an easier way to seduce. Because even when she was talking in Sally's voice, like not the Goa'uld Darth Vader voice, everything was referred to as we.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if any of the listeners have any ideas, please let us know, because I truly can't remember now if Ross spoke English in the fucking Stargate movie.
I'm going to have to subscribe to HBO again just to watch the movie to find out.
I think that, you can, yeah. Because that kind of sets the precedent,
Yep.
at that point. So I can't remember. We'll definitely, Kevin and I will get, we're going to, this week, we'll figure that out, that answer, and we'll have to remember to talk about that next week.
I will own up if I am so wrong on this. I apologize.
Dude, trust me, I'll be the first one to fucking say something, but the problem is that in my head, this plays out both ways. Like, absolutely in my head, I can see that scene both ways. I can see it with subtitles, and I can hear it with him speaking English. And I don't think I have multiple personalities. Like, I don't think, like, half of me is remembering one thing,
I'll ask again in a minute, see if your answer is the same.
Okay, fair enough. You may get a third answer. I don't know.
When they let Hathor onto the base and they gave her that jumpsuit to wear,
yeah.
Why did they let her keep all her crap on underneath it?
Underneath it?
Why, I don't understand. If you know what, it's just let her wear her crap or take it away and give her a jumpsuit. Don't do both.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do both.
No, that did seem a little bit weird. I'm gonna grant you that one. That was a little off. And you know what? I didn't notice it until you just fucking said something to me too. Did not notice that. That's funny. All right, let's move on to Singularity.
Singularity. Oh
yeah.
So I loved this episode. This was an episode where they go to a site where they already have a presence, and they get there and everybody is sick, except for apparently everybody is dead.
Yeah.
Except for one girl. So they bring her back through the Stargate, but they're there to watch some sort of weird black hole eclipse thing. And so a couple people stay behind, a couple people bring the girl back to Earth. And when they get her back to Earth, she's not doing well. She starts going downhill, and they figure out that she's got a Nakwita bomb building in her chest because someone designed her this way. So they bring her to a bunker, lock her away. She's going to explode, and then she doesn't. And they figure out that being away from the Stargate has neutralized it, so they just have to keep her away from the Stargate for the rest of her life.
Well, I think they said at the end that her body absorbed it.
Yeah, I think it was no threat at the end.
Yeah.
But she had nowhere to go. And then your girlfriend there, Janet Fraser, adopted her, which I think is so sweet.
She needs... I love Fraser. I really do. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Great episode. And we did get some backstory on another System Lord.
Yep.
Did we not? What was his name?
I don't have it in my notes.
Nerdy? I can't remember his name. Wow. It's not one of the big ones. It's not any of them that I remember. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's been 2 weeks since I've seen these episodes. I'm sorry.
I know. And the thing was I knew you were going to be out sick, right? So I'm like, oh, I should wait. I'm just going to wait to watch them until we're going to record. Dude, I can't. Like, it's almost like knowing that I'm watching these for a specific reason now. Yeah. You know, like I watch them because I enjoy them first and foremost. Don't get me wrong. But now that we have this podcast, so I kind of watch them from a different perspective. But I still find myself just wanting to binge watch this series.
Oh, yeah. How tough do you think it was being out of work for 2 weeks? And I wanted to watch Stargate so bad. But I had already watched every episode we needed to get through this week.
I know.
And I didn't want to get ahead so I wouldn't be in this position.
Exactly. I don't want to get ahead, partially because I don't want to bring information in that we don't need. Yep. And then partially by the time, if I get too far ahead, dude, I'm not going to remember these episodes as we're trying to talk about.
No, I mean, it's been 2 weeks, and I don't remember the name of the System Lord that they were fighting in this. That was the entire premise of this episode.
Yes. Do you remember the girl's name?
Cassandra,
there you go. See?
Oh, yeah.
You got some of it down.
Well, that's in my notes, though. She was played by Katie Stewart. She's Kitty Pryde in the X-Men movie.
She is Kitty Pryde. But do you want to know where I recognized her from first?
From the 100?
No, from The Crow.
Really?
From The Crow TV show, yeah. I really did like that show.
So you were the guy that watched it.
I was him, and I tried to keep it on. I tried to keep it on as long as I could. People, yeah. I've got a bit of a soft spot. Mark Dacascos is the guy who played the Crow in the TV show, and he through the '90s he kind of did these like cheesy action movies, that were actually really entertaining. So. when they did the crow thing, I was really quite on board for it. But and there was a great scene, dude. So they come through the Stargate, they realize that everybody's dead, they realize something's going on, and then they start fanning out, and they find Cassandra like in the woods, right? Like in these
hiding in the corn or something.
Yeah. So Carter's trying to goat her out, but Carter, like, everybody's got the full chem suit on, right? Except for Teal'c.
He gives no shit.
Yeah, no cares. So Jack looks at Teal'c and says, "Hey, show your face," you know. And it's just Teal'c's got that look, Teal'c's got the Teal'c look going on, where it's just like the hard frown, you know.
Yep.
And he said something to the effect of, "Try to look welcoming," or whatever. And he goes around the corner and he's like, "Hey, you know, give me your hand." And then it pans up to him trying to smile, and it was great. Like, I laughed, and it was really, really quite sweet to kind of see him force a smile, you know.
Oh yeah,
but
painful.
It really was. Great episode. So Naquadah, I'm going to sound like a Stargate noob here, okay? This is
After
the first
this episode, I think we both do.
I know. This wasn't the first time we were introduced to Naquadah, was it?
I don't know. I think it's the first time we've seen it outside of the Stargate itself.
Okay, because it was talked about like I should know what this substance is. And I do know what it is because I've seen the fucking series, 5, 6, 7 times. It was introduced to me as if there was already there was already laid knowledge of what Naquadah is. And not only to me, but to the characters, I think, first and foremost, that they knew what Naquadah was, So that kind of threw me off because I was like, wait, did I miss something already in 11 episodes? Like, did I black out during a fucking episode that talked about this? Because I know we talked about it during First Commandment, I think is what it was, where the one team goes rogue and they've got them digging in those mines, and I thought it was a Naquadah mine, initially, but
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that was a little weird that I felt like I was missing something, but I know we get into it a lot more down the road. Yeah, so Cassandra comes back to Earth. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a good episode. I just there's not much to talk about it necessarily.
No, there's a couple of things. Like, what did the planet think that the Stargate was? Because it just seemed to be out in a farmer's field. And I just feel like if you were a farmer, maybe you wouldn't build your field around this giant stone thing.
Unless they just worshipped it for whatever reason.
But
like
again,
maybe.
Why then build an altar around it? Don't make it, the corner of a farmer's field.
That's true. And did they really ever talk about why they were so pumped to observe the black hole?
It was something we've never seen from Earth, and so it was a big deal.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm sorry, there's no chance that the United States military, the Air Force, is so organized that they have buildings on this planet already. It's not going to happen.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree. But again, just one of those episodes that was really good. That just I didn't feel like I didn't have a whole lot to say about it. Like,
nope.
Some fun stuff went down. We got another system lord. It was exciting, good special effects. There was a great scene with Teal'c and Jack trying to hustle back to the Stargate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was another nice tame episode.
It was.
Not everything has to be explosions and graphics.
Yeah. No, I agree. But good episode. Just not a whole lot to say about it. That's all.
Yep.
Dr. Frasier. So there is something, I guess. Carter didn't completely suck. So
there you go. That has cleared your threshold for a good episode.
Dude, Carter's hitting 2 out of 3 right now for me. That
pretty good.
That means I got to come down hard on her next week. I gotta rebalance this out, man.
What are we up against next week? We'll have to see what the episodes work out to be.
It's spoiler alert. It's what is it? Core-Eye, Enigma, and Solitudes.
Okay.
Which I don't remember any of those. So
not a lick of them. No, couldn't tell you.
So we are after those 3 episodes, I think, and me and you can kind of discuss this. So we've got those 3. We've got Core-Eye, Enigma, and Solitudes. Then we go into Tin Man, There But the Grace of God, politics, and then that's the end of season 1 with the end or with the Serpent's Grasp. So we'll kind of figure out how we kind of want to handle that because we're nearing the end of season 1.
Mm-hmm. We'll do a
already.
recap or something, I'm sure.
We'll do a recap, and then we'll kind of figure out how we want to separate that out, because I believe there's a cliffhanger there between Serpent's Grasp and Serpent's Lair.
Yeah, I think my tentative schedule has us doing that and then 2 other episodes just to kind of keep it rolling.
Okay.
So we can do it. We can do a recap mid-episode if we want.
Yeah. No, that works. So any final thoughts on Fire and Water, Hathor, Singularity?
No.
I just I thought it was I thought all 3 were actually really good episodes. I really got into Fire and Water and Hathor. Singularity, there just wasn't a whole lot to talk about there. But I thought all 3 were great, with one of those really moving the story forward with Hathor.
Good.
I liked them. I gave them all a high 5,
Well, now I'm going to talk about the book.
Yes, let's, because I'm curious, because you did talk to me before you went in Under the Knife, and mentioned that you wanted to check those out. So
I needed something Stargate related to keep me busy.
That wasn't the show.
Yeah, I couldn't watch the show.
So what'd you think, and where does this kind of take place here?
4 days after Kowalski dies, so 4 days after Enemy Within. This is their first official mission as the SG-1 team that we know.
Okay.
So this is, they basically are going to some random planet, and I could tell you the P code because they actually give it in the episode Emancipation. This is the planet that they talk about in that episode where Carter got drunk and took something off, which they allude to at the end of the book. But they basically happen upon a planet of Greek-based cultures that use the Stargate to travel between 5 different planets, and they manage to piss off the locals and get sent to the 5th planet that's basically been run by this Goa'uld Artemis for the last 1,000 years. And she just uses it as a hunting ground where she uses collars to control people, to make them into either hunters or prey, and makes them fight until they're all dead. And so when the collar starts to turn black, you become a killer. The 4 of them get collars. Carter and Daniel, they start to turn black. O'Neill and Teal'c, theirs are pure white. And you can kind of see it as the story progresses, where Teal'c and O'Neill are kind of weak and slow, and they're not their normal selves. And O'Neill's got a twisted ankle, and Teal'c's just kind of out of it. And Carter and Daniel become these like werewolf hunter type people. Just kind of a neat little premise. A little bit of a good way to put them at odds with each other. And then Daniel dies, which is really cool. Daniel and Carter figure out that the collars come off with death. So they kill themselves, and it's up to Jack to figure out if there's a sarcophagus and bring them back.
Ooh,
and
interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they wind up at the end, spoiler alert, trapping Artemis in the sarcophagus and just leaving. Like that's the end of the book. They trap her, and they're like, all right, great, bye.
See ya.
That they're done. They leave, and while they're waiting to go back home, they're at a bar. Carter has some to drink, and Daniel later relates to Jack the story of how Carter got up on the table and did something or other, and then the book ends.
Oh, so we still don't exactly know what she was doing.
Not really, no.
Okay, all right.
No, they don't get it. They can't get into it because this is, after the fact. This book came out well after these episodes were shot. They're not really going to give anything away.
No. See, that sounds like that sounds like it would make for a fun episode though, like TV episode.
Yeah, reading it felt like an episode on the TV. It was really cool, and as I mentioned, it did introduce the fact that the gate, when you use a DHD, it translates for the planet you're going to so that everybody speaks the same language. And that comes up in this because when they first get there, no one can understand them. They can't understand anybody. And then they go through the Stargate using the DHD to the 5th planet, and suddenly everybody speaks the same language. And they were all confused as to how and why everybody suddenly learned each other's language. Daniel and Carter geek out about it. She says she's going to upgrade the computer back at Earth to make it do that for everybody. And that's where we are. So I think that's kind of their their nod towards the fact that they did away with Daniel translating.
Okay. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, all in all, there were no big problems with this book, except for at one point Artemis used the transportation rings, and they didn't seem to come from anywhere. They came down from the sky for some reason.
really?
Yeah, she had a ship in orbit, but it didn't say that the ship was anywhere nearby, and usually those rings come from the ceiling or from a ship that you can see. But
Yeah.
other than that, I had no problems with this book.
How many books are there then? Like, because I
there's-
know. Oh, go
There's
ahead.
quite a few. There's like I could give you a real number if I took the time to do any homework, but there's like 20 that spread both this and Atlantis. I think it's 23 right now.
Okay. And they all, like, quote-unquote canon?
Yeah, pretty much. They all kind of fit in. I'm sure they're going to be like this, where they don't actually do anything. There's not, nothing changes anything that happens. It's not that you're going to find out that Daniel stays dead in one of them or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense, though. They're just little standalone, freestanding episodes, if you will.
Yeah, nothing in, nothing out. They just
Okay.
kind of, we're going to build to this and then bring it right back down to status quo.
Wow. That's awesome, though. One thing, did me and you, I think me and you talked about it. Did they ever do a comic book? I thought they did a comic book for maybe Atlantis or...
There is a comic book coming out for Universe that's going to kind of continue with what's going on. There was a comic book for the original Stargate SG-1, or actually, I don't think it was for SG-1. I think it was for the original Stargate movie that I am not going to bother to track down and read because I read the synopsis of it. It is one of the weirdest things I have ever had the misfortune to lay eyes on. They basically find a second Stargate somewhere else in the world, and as soon as they uncover it, these demon creature things start pouring through it, and they just have to try to bury the Stargate again, and it's just awkward and awful, and I don't feel like going back. There's a whole nother series of books too that I'm just not going to go back to, that is a sequel to the movie, and I've mentioned them before. I'm not going to go back for those either. I'm sure I have them somewhere in storage, but they're not something that fits in with SG-1, and they just kind of take a different look at everything else.
See, I'm kind of interested already. Like, I'll be honest with you, just the idea that they find a second Stargate on Earth kind of has me interested a little bit.
Give it a couple of episodes. Spoiler alert.
I don't know. Like, interested enough that I'd be like, if somebody's actually, had a copy of that and was like, here, do you want to take a look at this? I'd be like, yeah, but not really interested enough to actually track one down.
Nope.
Yeah, so.
Not spending money on that.
Anyway. So, yeah, that pretty much wraps up Fire and Water, Hathor, Singularity. Next week, like we said, Korai, Enigma, Solitudes. I believe that's episodes 16, 17, and 18, if I'm not mistaken.
According to what we're doing, 16, 17,
17, 18? Okay.
That's how they're listed on Hulu.
That's how I've been watching it, by the way.
Yeah, I signed up for Hulu for this, but they're listed as 15, 16, and 17 because they group Children of the Gods as one if you look it up on IMDb.
Oh, you're right, yeah. I really look forward, like I said, man, I just have a problem, like stopping myself from watching these, so I really look forward to being able to sit down and watch those 3 episodes this week. Talk to you next week. We are going to absolutely figure out the whole Raw thing, too. We're going to figure out if that asshole spoke English, or if I'm just hallucinating a lot of shit.
Yeah, if there's anybody out there yelling at us right now while they're listening to this podcast, take it to Reddit, actually yell at us.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like, you can call me a damn idiot, too. I don't even care. I just want to know one way or the other, that's all. Also, next week, we're going to try, I really wanted to try to go live tonight. Unfortunately, real life work got in the way, and we just weren't able to get everything set up to do that. So hopefully next week, we're going to go live. We'll go live on YouTube. I think that's probably going to be the best platform to try to go live on. So follow us on where are we at? Chevron Podcast on Twitter. Follow us on there. I'm going to post some updates and kind of figure out how this is going to work. And I just think it would be fun. I think it would be fun to have a live audience interaction with people asking questions about certain episodes. The only thing that I would want is just people asking questions about the episodes that we're currently on versus anything that's coming down the road. So,
Yep.
But yeah, follow us at Chevron Podcast on Twitter. We do have a subreddit now. We do. Kevin, you set that up, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
r/Chevron Locked. Yep. There's nothing in it, but it's there.
Well, damn it, tonight I'm going to start something on there then.
Boom.
I feel like there should be something. And Facebook page is up and coming too. I'm going to get that done. I will absolutely get that done tonight and get that posted up. So,
yeah, we'll have links to all of this on chevronlock.com.
That's right. We have a website too, dude.
We do.
That's so weird. That is so weird. It's like it's an official thing.
That's why I figured I'd throw it in there for you. I got your back.
Okay. In all honesty, I did completely forget. We do have a website. Podcast episodes are hard encoded on there, right? So people can just listen directly on the site.
Yep. I have a little player up there that links directly from Libsyn.
Oh, perfect. So we've got that. And, of course, if you're using iPhones or if you use iTunes, of course, we're on iTunes too. So feel free to look us up. Give us any feedback too, by the way. All the feedback is always appreciated. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you would like to see done. And like I said, I look forward to trying to get this show live. I think it would just be a lot of fun to do. So definitely follow us on the website. That's probably going to be the best place to get information. And thanks again for everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it.